Hey everybody, it's Scotty from Scotty's Record Shop with another artist profile. I've been meaning to do this one for a couple weeks, but because of the Christmas season, it's been a little crazy around here. And if you can hear in the background my daughters, it's still a little crazy around here, but that's okay. The group in question this week is Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, most simply known as ELP. Great progressive rock group from the 70s. Kind of a supergroup in some respects, maybe not to the American the American record buying public, but definitely people in Europe knew about these guys before they were Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Of course, Keith Emerson, was in a band called The Nice, and I really liked that band. There was one thing I did not care for that band. Look up the song America by The Nice, and you'll just hear Keith Emerson's keyboards. It's so like it's just great early progressive music. They got into a little trouble though because they had this thing about burning the American flag on stage. I don't think that that's cool. I really don't like that, but that's my personal thing, especially being an American. I don't burn your flag, you don't burn mine. Thank you. But other than that, the band was just an amazing band, and the song America is a great song. Of course, Greg Lake, King Crimson, of course, American record buying public knows about King Crimson, at least. Their first album, they put out a lot of wonderful albums, but the first album, just The Court of Crimson King, just really, wow. And Carl Palmer, I believe he was the drummer for, and I didn't do a lot of research with this, I'm going off the cuff. My memory was he was the drummer for The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, wasn't he? I think. Anyway, great drummer though, fantastic drummer. Of course, went on to work in the band Asia. Irregardless, let's get to the albums, okay? These are all American pressings. These are all original American pressings, best of my knowledge. I don't know if they have the inner sleeves that were perfect or whatever, but we'll go to this one first. 1970. I believe they did their first appearance at the Isle of Wights Festival. I've got a tape of that, and that just really, I think it was actually officially released. It may have been, but I've got a CD of it that wasn't an official release, and it was really, wow, what a debut. Anyway, this is the first LP. Most notably known for the song Lucky Man. See if I can get the inner sleeve here out for you guys so you can see. That would be your inner sleeve. At least I believe this was the original inner sleeve for this. And your label. There you go. Initially they were not on the Atlantic label. Although a lot of copies of these albums are circulating. I believe they'd be later 70s, 80s pressings on Atlantic. Matter of fact, I'll show you one in a little bit. I've got an Atlantic pressing of one of them. Great LP, though. I'll deal with that later. The next one I'm going to show you is Tarkus. Gatefold cover for this one. A lot of these I got really inexpensively, like tried like a buck in some cases, in most cases. And all of them are in really, really, really excellent shape overall. This has obviously a little tear. I'm not even sure. I don't think this is the original inner sleeve, but life goes on, you know. Great record. Tarkus from ELP. Next one we get, Pictures at an Exhibition, another gatefold. Again, I'm unclear if these originally had posters. Somebody who had, bought them when they came out or whatever, who knows a little more. Enlighten us in the notes if you could, please. But again, there's your label. As you can see. Another band. All these are just tremendously classic progressive rock LPs. Period. You know. This I'm still amazed that I found this in the condition that it's in. Brain Salad Surgery. And this has got the original cover that opens up like this. As you can see, amazingly enough, in mint. I found that for $1. Let me show you the inner sleeve here. This one does come with a little inner booklet. Fantastic cutouts. The guy's face. It's just a really... I mean, when I saw this for $1, I was like, you've got to be completely joking with me on this one. Okay? Here's your Atlantic kind of styled inner sleeve. And I was like, I just couldn't believe the shape that this was in for $1. That was one of those vinyl finds this year that was just absolutely like, okay, this is really wonderful. You know, amazing. Brain Salad Surgery. Next one, Trilogy. I'll show you 2 pressings of this. Okay, this is your gatefold pressing. And in the sleeve has that there you go for that. Again, if I move stuff around, it's only because like I have a magnification software. I've said this before, but on my laptop, and I only get to see part of the screen, so I want to make sure that you guys see everything, or as close to everything as possible. There's your label. Another $1 deal. It was actually the same time that I found Brain Salad Surgery, and I was like, I just can't believe this. What a wonderful day that was, huh? In great shape. Okay, let me show you another pressing of this. Just here we go. Now this is the later 70s pressing. Note there's no barcode on that. Nope. But it's Atlantic pressing. Gatefold as the same as the other pressing. Kind of freaky. The lights are flickering in my house, and we're in the middle of having a pretty serious ice storm. So let's see if we can make it through this without losing power. There's your pressing of that on Atlantic. One that I know a lot of my friends have this album, and it's the pressing they have. You know, in the end, it doesn't matter. Original pressing, Atlantic pressing, it's still a great record, right? This one is a great packaging deal. I hope you guys can see this. This is Welcome Back, My Friends, to the Show That Never Ends. Live album. Now check this out. E, and this is what's pretty much holding the vinyl in. E, do this without dropping anything. L, P, and these letters are what's holding the vinyl in, which is a great concept, but a lousy packaging deal because it's so easy to bend these things. Here's your label with that. So easy to bend them, so. But a great live album from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Put this in again without bending. It's the only thing that I never really cared for. I love the packaging, but it was kind of one of those, you know, like I said, easy to destroy. Kind of like that Foghat live album that was, if you put it in too fast or something, or if you don't have some kind of protective covering over it, the live, it was a cutout, die cut thing, and it got shredded really easy. Okay. Next one we get is Works. This, let me get this sucker open here. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. To me, this was kind of where things really kind of changed. It's a great album. But after this, actually I shouldn't say at this point, but after this point, it kind of got a little, you know, the band was getting tired. What we get next is Works Volume 2. And I read in more than one article, this is kind of like leftovers from Works. I don't want to go that far. There's some really good points of this album as well. You know, there's your Atlantic label. At this point, we're on Atlantic. Custom label. But they were definitely getting tired. You could tell by this point in time. They'd been touring for years, recording for years. The record company wasn't giving them a break. Our next one is Concert. I love the cover of that. But if I have to go for an album, a live album, I'm going for the first one I showed you. Not that this is bad, but let me show you the, that, and that, and on the Atlantic label. This next record took so much heat when it came out, and I get it. I understand why, but the album grew on me, and it just, you didn't think of it as like an actual like early progressive rock Emerson, Lake and Palmer album. I mean, they were hassled even about the cover. This goes under the worst cover catalog or description. This is a horrible cover. Love Beach. They said they were, they look like the Bee Gees on this cover. And you know what? This is not an Emerson, Lake and Palmer album cover, I'm sorry. And not an Emerson, Lake and Palmer album as they were. The record company was really pushing them to be more commercial. And so they gave them, this is that. They gave them that. Your Atlantic. And I don't mind this record. It's just I have to be not thinking of Tarkus. You know what I'm saying? But really, the musicianship on this record is great, and I think that the critics were really nasty on this one. And the band was too hard on themselves, too, I think, honestly, because they didn't care for this album. Last one I'll show you is one I showed you, actually, in one of my last vinyl finds, but it just caps everything off. And the notable reason for this is I think this had a couple of single edits of some songs. The Best of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which, in all confessions, in the early 80s, when I was a kid, this was the first Emerson, Lake and Palmer album I bought, and had since lost it and found it in a dollar bin again. But anyway, irregardless, that is my Emerson, Lake and Palmer vinyl collection. Any corrections, Lord knows I don't know it all, and I would love, if you can add something to this mess, please do, especially if there are additional posters or anything like that, in the comment section, or PM me, preferably in the comment section, so we can all see what's going on. Alrighty, hey, until next time, everybody, peace and love.